And I think we are live. Good morning.
Amazing. Yay.
Yay. Good morning. My name is Heather DeSanto, and I'm the owner of DiSH Events. And I'm here again on a Friday for a What's Your Dish conversation, where I invite people in my world to join me to talk about their dish, which is their who, what, why, where, and how of how they show up in their life, their business, and what I like to call their business of life. And so today I am thrilled to be joined by Chantal McDougall. I met Chantal through Fem City. I've had a lot of femmes on these episodes. And so I'm super excited to talk to Chantal. I think the best way what I really appreciate about Chantal is that she's from a different generation. And so I've learned a lot from her about her bravery and what she does to help people that really want to showcase themselves but have a really hard time doing it. So with that, I will invite Chantal to introduce herself and tell everybody what her dish is all about. Thank you for joining me today.
I love this. And I like how at the end, I think I'm going to mention like my favorite dish at a restaurant too. I
Yeah,
find that so cool, the play on words.
thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Chantal. I'm the fairy godmother of storytelling. I am really passionate to work with heart-centered female business owners and just women in general who want to share their story, share their message, but they might not know how to do it, or their inner critic might be so loud that's holding them back from actually doing it. So I'm really passionate to help craft and create stories for them to share that align with them, who they are, and also that connect with their ideal client. Because it's very, very important when you show up in your online presence, in your brand, in your business, that it feels aligned and it feels like you. And I've had experience when it isn't, there's resistance, and also it's not as enjoyable. And we've started this journey to enjoy it. So if we can share more of who we are, the person behind the business, and really bring it to life in our content, bring it to life in our presence, it just makes it all the difference for us and our community. And that's where you're able to really build and nurture a loyal community. That's what I help with.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I think what I love about what you do is that I was just at a networking event last night, and a lot of us were talking about how we feel at networking events and our 30-second pitch. And I shared my opinions of it in that for some people, especially if they're new in business, and women in particular, because again, generally we're just not very kind to ourselves. We're always like, and so I find the 30-second, it's so important to nail it down, because if you don't and you're invited and attend networking events where this is the focus of introducing yourself, there's two things that I look at. One, if you don't have your 30-second, then like you're not representing yourself well. And then on the flip side of that, you really want to get the biggest bang for your buck in that 30 seconds, to your point about making sure that people, what I think and what I'd love to talk about, where I'm going with this is just hinting. Like, it doesn't need to be the everything you do and all the
Mhm.
things. It's creating what you call curiosity to
Yeah.
learn more about who I am, that will attract me to talk to you further about business, because it's all about the know, liking, and trust. So with that,
Exactly.
just go, Chantal.
I love what you said, and because it's so true. I think of what makes a elevator pitch and introduction really juicy, really good, and captivating is when you leave curious, wanting more, and you're like, what the heck? Like, I want more. Like, well, 30 seconds isn't enough. And that's where having messaging that tells a story, that tells a story that your ideal client can relate to and is aligned again with you. We're not, I'm going to give an example. If you let's say you have a wonderful story in your business and it connects to a service that you don't particularly enjoy, it's going to show up differently. You're not going to be as lit up. You're not going to attract as many people as you want because that energy doesn't lie. So that's why I mean it has to be aligned with you. You find the parts that you really, really enjoy and create a story around it. That's what I always tell my clients, what lights you up? Like, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to be remembered for? Yes, you might be helping someone with getting clients, but is it lighting you up? Is this what you want, or is it just bringing income in? Because it's not sustainable that way. I've met people who have grown successful businesses and they don't enjoy what they're doing. Yes, they have the income, but it's not aligned. So that's why it's really important to have that connection and leave people curious, leave them wanting more. Because when people want more, they'll ask. You don't have to necessarily, like, yes, I always tell people have a call to action, reframe it as an invitation to
Mm.
have them connect with you. But if your messaging is really on point with what they're going through and connects to your services, right, as the solution or the resource to help them, they will come to you. They will go check out your website. They will go check out your social media. They'll want more. Like, I need more of this, and that's what we want. Because when we give a lot, it can be very overwhelming.
Mm.
And think of it, people who are listening right now, like, have you been in a networking event where someone was talking a lot, or even in a coffee chat, one-on-one? They talk so much about what they do, and you leave and you're like, either I have no idea because it's all over, or that was really overwhelming. I don't know who to refer to them. That's really important, like what Heather said. When you are clear, not necessarily, I don't think you have to niche down, and I say ditch the niche. That's my saying, like ditch the niche. But if you're focused and clear on serving a specific community and positioning yourself to align with them and align with yourself, that is where the magic happens because you're focused on serving. And when you focus on serving your community and nurturing it, when comes the time that you have offers, people are lined up and their credit card ready. They're like, yes, I want it because you've nurtured them already. So
Yeah.
that's where the beginning, getting people curious. Elevator pitch is not to tell everything to everyone. It's telling, like, it's like they say the piece of the pie and not the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah. So what makes you so passionate about doing this? Like from your background, at like whether it was education, or like what got you into this?
Yeah, that's a good question. I want to make it very clear. I don't have necessarily a passion for marketing or social media. Those are the tools that I help clients with. They come to me for that. But what I really love, and since a young age, I'll go really young. When I was maybe 7 or 8 years old, I was the young little girl who helped the younger kids on the play structures. Like I just had such a nurturing feeling, like always wanting to help someone, always wanting to see them be able to do something they didn't think they could. That was my favorite part of my lifeguard job as a teenager. I loved seeing the look on someone's face when they could do something they didn't realize they could and they didn't think they could. And just that sense of accomplishment, right? I get goosebumps. I'm like,
Yes.
wow. And being a part of it. And I would never take full credit for it. I love that I helped them get there, but like I helped them see what they had already, and that feels really good. And then when I was networking, people told me like, wow, you can go in front of anyone and just talk. I'm like, oh, that's a skill. Okay. I wasn't always like this. We forget because I was very, very shy before. But then when I really found more of my voice, right, and started practicing like throwing spaghetti at a wall, right, I realized I met so many talented individuals, so many talented women who really struggled at explaining what they did. And I was like, oh my God, we've had a one-on-one. You're awesome. And I see you, and I'm like, that's not the same it is the same person, but to a new person, it did not show their that they're credible and that they're the authority in their field and all. So I was like, okay, there's a need. And that's good because I want to serve. And when you're in a business, you have to see if there's a need for it. You might love to do something, but if there isn't a need for it, people won't invest. So seeing women in networking events now, when I coach them and I help them, and I see them shine their light in the networking, I'm like the proud mom. I tell them I'm gonna be like cheering for you, but if you want it confidential, I respect that, and I won't do anything. But internally, I'm like, yes. I'm like, yes, you girl, you go, girl. So
Yeah,
just
I think that is one of the, I know I love a lot of things about you,
yeah.
but you are speaking your truth in what you just shared. Like from the moment I met you until today, it's always been that at the forefront from
Mhm.
you, like through FemCity, I've witnessed it a lot.
Mhm.
You're just such a giving person,
Yeah.
and it is a reflection. I've seen the reflection on the other side, because again, with FemCity on our calls, we do our 30 seconds, and
Yes.
you've been able to assist some of those people. And from what I first met them online to now, after you've helped them, it really does make a difference. And we've had conversations, and I still think I'm going to speak for myself for you, that in the back of your mind you're like, Heather, you still haven't nailed it down, because I do so many different things, and it's only been recently that I've decided what my true passion is. So I need to circle back with you and work on that alone.
Oh, absolutely. But when just to be very honest, like I've never been like into competition. That's why later what we're going to share, it's very out of my comfort zone. Just foreshadowing here so you guys will know what's happening later. But I don't necessarily go to an elevator pitch and look at how people are doing it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of people just for showing up. But if they come to me for feedback, I will give it, and I will always be kind with it, but it'll be constructive. It's like, okay, instead of this, maybe try this. But I like how you're talking about your events and you create magic, and I see you coming more and more into your own. I'd love to help you further for sure, but I want you to know I don't look at, oh, that's what Heather's saying, like, and pick it apart. But that's the inner critic in us, right? Because if we're doing that, we're doing it to ourselves. And I'm working on my own inner critic, and it's one of my all-time favorite things of what I do. But I also have a bachelor degree in psychology with honors, and I've had a really, really hard past. So a lot of what happened to me, I remained kind and remained who I was throughout it all. And I'm really freaking proud of that, because there are times, of course, in our life where someone's really mean to you, and briefly we have, I call it a villain voice. The villain voice comes in, it's like, this really I want maybe you unintentionally hope for something bad to happen to someone or something like that, but bringing it back in and being like, no, I choose kindness. Like, I'm not giving them that power. No, like, I don't want even the worst people in my life. I don't want them to suffer. I don't want them to be miserable. They're already miserable. Keep in mind, they are already suffering. They might be unaware of it. I don't want to wish more on them, because that says more about me. And I don't want that. And I've really come a long way for that. It's forgiveness, acceptance. And I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are trying the best they can. And that's what I mean in networking, back to it. People are trying the best they can. I've been on calls where people, oh man, it's very friendly, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, but this is what you could do different. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, this is unsolicited advice. I don't want to do that. So what you asked, sometimes I go all over, but I try to connect it back to what we're talking about, just to show the bigger picture,
Yeah.
because I don't want people to just think, oh, she's had it easy, she's had it good, because we do that, we do.
Yeah.
But definitely not. And it's important to be human about it, like I am now, and I love having those conversations.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you alluded to it earlier, and I am grateful to have shared my experience with you, so that and encouraged you to put yourself out there. So you are participating in Speaker Slam
I
coming up in January, isn't it?
I
Like it's
know,
not
yeah.
very far away.
No, it's so soon. I can't believe it. It's unreal. Unreal. Yeah, January 28th.
January 28th. Okay, I've got to get that in my calendar. And please remind me, but also share. So, because for those of you that may not know, Speaker Slam is an international speaking event where you're invited to come, and there's 10 speakers. There's always a theme. I participated back in September where the theme was the power of yes.
Yeah.
And so, remind me what the theme is for January.
For sure. And before I go there, I remember when you mentioned Speaker Slam, I was like, I was counting down the days. I sent you like messages, you and Shauna,
Yes.
two femmes, from Fem City. And then during it, I'm like cheering for you. And like at home, I'm watching it from home and I'm cheering and I'm like, oh my God. And I loved your hook and everything, like climbing up the mountain. That was so awesome. And my theme is resilience. And I'm so excited. Like it's perfect. No, I don't like using the word perfect, but it's so ideal. Yeah. It is
Yeah,
perfect, honestly. Like I'm gonna use it. It is. It's for
that's
me, it
amazing.
is.
I love it. So are you doing so as a tip to you, are you rehearsing? Like, have you figured out what your 5 minutes is, and are you like repeating it over and over and over again? Because
Yes.
like my experience was, I'm a natural speaker, and so in my mind, I was like, I know what I'm saying as a framework, and
Mhm.
no problem. I'm going to get up there, and it's going to be no problem. Well, I forgot that it's a stage and there's a whole bunch of people and there's a light shining right in your face and all this stuff. And I was like, and so it was a really, really eye opening experience for me, in that preparation is key. And
Mhm.
so, and again, like I loved my experience. It's not that, but the preparation, I think I disregarded too much. And so, yeah, that's my question. Are you rehearsing over and overhead
Oh
in
yeah.
your all that kind of stuff?
For sure. So I love that you asked that. There's a few things going on in my mind. I am like you, natural speaker. Like I feel like I could be on a stage and talk and go off, right? But that's the challenge where it's 5 minutes. So I've gotten clear on what the story is going to be. And that was a hard one for me because there's so much that you want to do. But it's like, what can I, again, leave them curious? Like, I'm not gonna tell my whole story in 5 minutes. Are you joking?
Right.
No way. No, it would take way longer than that. But I'm going into Speaker Slam to tell a really good, captivating story.
I love
That is
that.
what I'm going to do. I'm not looking to, I know traditionally, like it's a 5 minute speech and it will be 5 minutes or 5 minutes and 30 seconds, I think you can go up to.
Yeah.
But I don't thrive on memorizing like line by line. It's going to be so robotic that way. So I'm practicing the flow. It's not going to be exactly, how I rehearse it at home, but I am so connected to like my heart, my higher self, wisdom, whatever you want to call it, that it's going to be exactly what it's meant to be. And whatever happens, like I'm good with it.
Yeah.
I'm accepting of it, but you said I'm a big giver. So to give back to myself, January, I am really focusing on that and taking not a break. Like I work one-on-one with a lot of clients and I do groups, but I told myself January is to set myself up for that. And I'm already starting a wait list and starting to do coaching again in February
So
because I really think this is it is, it's my first time I've ever done something like this. So the best thing I can give back to myself is time to soak it in and not feel like I'm focusing on other people's businesses, And I'm really proud of that. That's really big for me. I'm a big giver and this is my time to replenish.
good for you. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that says a lot, really, because you have entered in this. Like I don't know how long in particular you've been doing this, what we've been talking about,
Yeah.
but I think to your point earlier about talking about getting like your income for people is very important, right? So to take that step back for a whole month where income is necessary for all the things in
Yeah.
life, and this
Yeah.
is kind of what I talk about the business of life, right? Like
Mm.
however you're making the money to bring in for whatever you need, and so it's very brave to take that month off and necessary for what you're doing to be able to step into your power and really get prepared for it. I honor that. That's good for
I
you.
really appreciate that because my business, Shine Your Light Online, what's really important about shining your light is you need boundaries in order to protect that light. Okay. And for me, my boundary, because I'm an overgiver and I love that now. I thought that was a default because I take so much from myself. But that's the thing. You can be an overgiver, like you give, 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 but it's having that replenishing. And I really truly believe by taking this January off of, like, yes, I have 2 or 3 one-on-ones that are signed up already, but taking on new clients, waitlist until February, and I really trust it'll bring in more abundance by taking this time really to nail what I want to do. And honestly, giving back to me, I've been burnt over and over this year, and I think this is what I need. And I am fortunate to be in a situation where I can do this. And I have like savings, for example, and an incredible husband that's very supportive. I know not everyone has this privilege to be able to do this, but I know in my heart, if I want to really give to my clients, like really give, I need to take a step back, fill me up, and then come February, get ready because it's going to be incredible. Like for my clients and new offers that I'm excited about.
That's awesome. You're such a wise woman. I don't even know how old you are, and I'm not expecting you to share, but I know you're young, a lot younger than I am.
26.
And you're so wise for the age and experience and whatnot. And I also, I think I really admire you for having the confidence that you have. And I think it's generational as well. Like my son, for example, and he's even younger than you are, but yes, there's anxiety and there's things that our teens are dealing with, but there's just your generation and the generations after you, I think just have a different view, perspective of life, of what business they want to work on, how they show up on social media or don't. That's the other thing. Like I know a lot of people that are just like, that's not my thing and I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And so, and that's fine if there's another way to generate income. Like I know a lot of people that just generate it based on referrals. They don't want to do social media. They don't have a presence at all. Again, equally admirable.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
and I think that goes back to what you've been sharing about that authenticity. I think
Mhm.
it's really important to choose where you can show up and be comfortable and be in your authentic self for the purpose of gaining clients and serving and all of that. Like use myself as an example. So I'm an event planner.
Yeah.
Do I love the stuff leading up to the event? I do it. Do I love it? I'd say it's about a 50%. You
Mm.
get me on event day, I like that is where I am lit up. It's where I shine the best. That's where I'm in my power.
Yeah.
Right. And so to translate that to social media is tricky for me. And I think what's been going on in my head around the events thing is to have I have certain opinions about
Mhm.
events, and there's also an educational component to it where and then into social media. So I'll use an example. So we had this networking event last night.
Yeah.
I helped host it. It wasn't my event, but it was held at the gallery that I run. I'm the event manager at. And we were taking in, we had a representative from the Women's Center of York Region. And so we were asking people to bring things. And what ended up happening was there were people that said yes to coming to the event, but never stayed in Facebook in the event to see what was going on. And I think that there's a bit of ownership there. If you're, especially at this time of year, a lot of us are trying to give back. And so it was interesting to me, and it always gives me these little nudges to say, without being preachy, it's
Yeah.
educational, right? But
Mhm.
this is what I struggle with is that how do you, it's a fine line between being preachy and being authentic and just genuinely wanting to serve and be mindful, help people be mindful of the things that are important when you come to events. Allergies is another thing. I
Yeah.
knew of a few
Absolutely.
last night that people shared,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like
But
we had
for
nuts in
example,
our
for
charcuterie
you,
board,
just like
right?
really
So
quick, it
yeah.
just really quick, just to help you. When it comes to talking about events, prepping for events and because a lot of people in your community I'm guessing if they're part of your community, they've either wanted to attend one of your events, they have attended, or they know someone that would want to, right? Because when you're a part of something, it's either something that you're getting out of or someone that you know. I would recommend you start a series about like this is the dish, you know. I'm gonna spill the tea, but like spill the dish, you know, behind the scenes of the events. I find that really fascinating. When I go to a restaurant, then I see their social media is about how they make the food, like the preparation. I find that fascinating. And I feel like people will gain more respect and more appreciation. They're like, wow, that's a lot of planning. That's a lot of, you know, time spent. I encourage you to tap into that if it feels right for you in 2025. Like it doesn't even have to be a long series. It can be like 30 seconds a week that you just share even on your story. It doesn't have to be on, you know, your grid. You know what, if you don't know what that means, the story disappears in 24 hours. You can save it. It shows up on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. I'm not sure if YouTube does it now. I don't really focus on YouTube, but yeah, I think if you showed us the behind the scenes, people would really find that interesting.
Mm.
And then that plants the seed in the back of the mind, right? Of attending or wanting to be more informed. And if you have like a link on your page that leads to your upcoming event or a list of the dates, I really think that could bring in more interest. I love behind the scenes, and I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think, yeah, I think that is easily doable. And I think that's another thing. Like I need to be more mindful of moments when those things can happen in order to share, right? Because again, you're doing all the things as you're preparing for the event, but those
Yeah.
things are important as well. Because we
Yeah.
tend to, or I do anyways, I tend to share the after effect.
Yeah.
People,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
it's like that. Some people may have FOMO, which is not my intention. That's not the point of doing it. But I
Yeah.
think it would be interesting to do the before and then the after. And then
Yeah.
again, it's planting seeds because it's
Planting seeds, exactly. And it's also, like I said, the appreciation of all the hard work and passion. People see, like speakers then, people are going to see me at the 5 minutes and they think that's like I did it. And no, it took a while. It took a lifetime to get this stuff to like happening to me. But what I recommend for you, it sounds so simple, but film yourself just writing when you are like working on retreat stuff or events and just film, and you can you can add your voice over the
right.
video, like over a reel, and then talk about what you're doing. Like, here's my, you know, process to preparing for my events. Like right now I'm writing invitations or whatever you do. Like let us in that,
Yeah.
like let us in your world of planning, because that really gets people curious, because most people are used to hearing, come to my event, come to my event, come on. That's everywhere. But what can we do that's a little different? The behind the scenes, no one's gonna have your exact behind the scenes. Same
Right.
thing that's why I tell my clients, like, show the person behind the business, show the business behind the scenes, because no one can replicate that. Like, it's so unique to you. And of course, your offers can be unique, but when you show the behind the scenes and the prepping, when it comes to launching, there are already people excited in your community about it. And
Yeah.
that's where word of mouth can happen. So just food for thought.
Thank you. See,
You're welcome.
serving on a live when it's supposed
Yeah.
to be about you and you're giving back to me. So this
Right?
is this is Chantal in a nutshell. What she
You're
just
welcome.
did
Thank
is
you.
what she does for a lot of people, and I think it's so admirable. So we've talked about, you mentioned your website and whatnot, but and I'll invite you again to share this at the very end. But where is the best place for people to find you? We've talked about like we've not said the word, but we've talked about Instagram, and I think that's the predominant
Yeah. Okay. And
platform
I have
to
a
help
funny
people with.
story if people
Yeah,
are
please.
still tuned in. Instagram has been my least favorite app. And I need people to hear this, okay? For a long time, I wanted to ditch it and everything. But after doing some inner work, not inner work, but like curious, getting really curious. Why is this feeling? I had a personal account turned into a business one. So every time I was showing up I was speaking to an audience that probably didn't want to hear about my business. So I'd get on followers, I wouldn't get curiosity. I would feel like Instagram was the problem, but it wasn't. It was just you can be the full package or the right package, but be in front of the wrong audience. And that's
Mm.
what happened to me. So when I started my new Instagram from scratch, and I rebranded myself as the fairy godmother of storytelling. I didn't have to worry about friends and family, what they would think and all. I got to really own it and be myself. And in, my God, in 3 months, I think I got, it's not about the followers, but just to show the difference. I grew my account more than I have in like 4 years with my other account in 3 months because I was aligned. I was showing up. It was fun. It was connecting. I wasn't trying to be I always hear social media strategy. It just,
Right.
I wasn't following that. I was following my heart and finding how to nurture my community, how to bring them in. Unreal. And now I wouldn't say Instagram is my favorite, but I feel completely different. So when people tell me I don't like social media, I, in my mind, I'm like, sometimes it's not about the actual social media that's frustrating. It can be not being in front of the right audience, not having a community that wants to hear from you. So that's where I'm like leading like my business. I want to help people like create a community. It's not just about growing, a Facebook page and this and that. It's really about serving a community of people there. That's who you sell to, not just random people at networking events. It's like that's your community. The networking events, you invite them to your community. It's just really important to hear that difference because for so long I had the little voice in my head saying, ditch it, ditch it. Like, this is not for you. This is not for you. But I sat with it and I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to do this. I'm going to do it. And now I'm at the point that I'm going to speaker slam as the fairy godmother because I let myself have those 6 months of kind of like private. It was a secret community. I got to really find my voice, find myself more and more. And now I'm announcing it to everybody. And I'm like so okay that I'm in front of the wrong audience sometimes because I know the right ones are there too.
Right. That
Yeah.
is such a huge thing. I have to actually look at that myself, to be
Yeah.
honest, because yeah, that says a lot. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's a huge thing that people need to reconsider. I
Yeah.
didn't
Give it
really.
personal to business. You can. Some people, I'm not on here saying, oh, yeah, start from scratch. See what feels right. See what is going on in here. Okay. Because for me, I was showing up and there was always resistance. I'm like, I don't feel like I can fully be me. I feel like I'm holding back, holding back. But then when I got to do a secret, like community, a secret corner of the internet, I was like, wow, I can twirl. I can not worry about being taken seriously and be hired for it. People are hiring me now that I have a crown on my head and my wand and I'm twirling. I'm like, wow. And I gave myself that time to just kind of throw spaghetti at a wall, but like my favorite type of spaghetti,
Yeah.
or not my favorite type of my favorite form of pasta. It was something that I want to do, not just what other people expected of me. And it's made all the difference. It's not just about income, but I've hit my biggest year this year. I have, and it makes sense now. The community piece, that is so, so important because when you can serve from there, I always suggest having like a low cost offer. I know you do events, for example. So like if it's like a half a day, or something, just like to get people in the door to want to be a part of your community, wanting to be a part of your newsletter, etc. But sometimes people experiencing a little bit, like I did a social media accountability group for 3 months this year, and it's been incredible. So how can you serve? Think after leaving this call, like how can I serve my community in a way that, is aligned with me
Mhm.
and that people are asking for, but also bring in some money as well because it's an exchange.
Yeah.
It's an exchange. It's very important. And that's not a bad thing. If I'm giving, 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 if you don't um, give yourself the opportunity to receive, financially, because it's your time is money. Bring
Yeah.
food to the table for your family. It's really important. And it's not a bad thing. And you'll be surprised how many people are willing to pay for it.
You're such a wise young woman. I'm just so impressed. So you and I know this, and I don't know exactly, but and so I might be diving off the deep end here with saying this, but you have an offer, I believe. It's like that intro offer to have people join you to like it's like a 20-minute call or something. What
Yeah, yeah,
the
wow,
gift
great. Yeah.
was yesterday at the Fem City event. I'm
Yeah.
like that. I think again, you've given so many tidbits here. I think it would be nice for you to share what that is so that if people are resonating with this and say, hey, like I'm struggling with my 30 in 30 seconds or what that would look like. Can you share what that offer is?
Thank you for asking. So I am offering 20-minute elevator pitch audits to give you tips to elevate your elevator pitch. And I'm going to give constructive feedback. And my feedback it's not just the messaging, it's not just the words, but it's how you're delivering it. Like how, maybe like when to pause, when to add certain words, what to avoid, maybe you're saying a lot. It's like, okay, I understand this is what you do. Let's make it more concise because we only have 30 seconds a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And the goal is to leave them curious, not leave them wanting to hire you. That's really important. It's not necessarily leave them wanting to hire you. It's really, once in a blue moon, you'll have like a unicorn person in the group that's like, I want you. But to really be good at networking is building relationships and serving, right? How can I support the other? How can they support me, etc. So if you want support for your elevator pitch, like I have some spots for December, 20 minutes, it's $77 Canadian, and it's a special holiday offer. So reach
Yeah.
out if you want to claim it.
Awesome. And I'm presuming there's a link to do that so that when we post this and whatnot, you can put the link in so that it's easy for people to go in and accept that from you if is that
For
feasible?
that one, I don't. I have a
Oh,
link
okay.
for other things, but because it's such a limited offer, I only am sharing it briefly through. I'm afraid if it's a link that people are going to share it, and
Uh,
it's very limited. Like I have very limited spots, but that's good to know for the future. Absolutely.
yeah. Well, I think it again, it's something like you're planting a seed. If that is something that you're finding that people are really diving into, it could be something like like your lowest offer or whatever that looks like, right? Because again,
Yeah.
you come from a place of service. And it's like you were saying before, you're serving, but you're receiving at the same time because and again, there's
Yeah.
a lot of people can say, well, your offer needs to be free. Well, no, it doesn't, because again, that's 20 minutes of your time
Yeah.
that
No.
you're investing in somebody else, and you're actually giving, and you're giving them like vital information for success in their business.
Oh my God, for
So
sure. And I
yeah,
find like a strategy session overall, the ones that I've seen, the ones that I've delivered, they're usually free. But if it actually comes with something that they can leave with at the end, like a plan, yeah, I feel like usually there would be a price tag. And for this, like this is tangible tips for you to implement. This isn't just let me hear you and ask you some questions and figure out the goal we would focus on.
right.
It's like, no, I'm helping you, giving the expertise in the call. So for those of you who are listening, please don't feel guilty for charging. You'd be
Yeah,
surprised, like I said, that people are willing to pay. It
yeah,
is, we go to our therapist, we go to our dentist, we go to all sorts of services. We don't expect to get it for free.
yeah. We don't even think about it. It's automatic. Yeah, I know.
And a lot of them are in it to help people.
Yeah,
The thing that I had to defeat, like a limiting belief, was to help people, was to do it for free. You're not going to be able to help people like for long if you do it for free because you're
yeah,
going to be burnt. You won't have time. You will have to maybe get a full-time job to make up for that. Like it's very important. And that's where like the boundary comes in.
yeah. Oh my goodness. We could talk forever, but I'm noticing the time and I'm like, okay,
Yes,
we're going to have to dip into the next section.
for sure. I'm excited for
So
this. The cards?
yeah, so I bring
Yes.
in the tools that I use in my business called Points of View. They are tools to expand perspective, share perspective. What I always love to say about these things is like Chantal and I will have whatever topic comes up, may have a different view on it, and we may not agree on what each other's perspective is,
Mhm.
but I think that for the world right now, we're in a place where I think we could do a lot better by accepting what other people's opinions are because they come from knowledge in their own world, and we can learn a lot from other people's perspectives. So with that, would you like a random word or a random question?
Oh my God. I don't know. You pick for me. I get
Okay,
indecisive.
I'm going to do word today, and normally, so I'll just give framing of these are
Is it
tools that,
one of them's a picture? Is it a word with a picture?
so no, this is just the word. And so because yeah, you had different, I used different tools the day I did the thing with FemCity. So yeah,
Yeah.
these are just the words. And so whichever one pops out here as I'm shuffling them, there it is really whatever for, oh please, this is going to be so easy for you. And it's really so what I do is I show the word, but it's also I'll ask you to also look at, we invite people to look there. So there's a word, but what other words do you see within the word? Because it's all about like, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you see the word gratitude?
Like the first image that I have in my mind, or
Yeah, like just what does this word mean to you? We've talked about it quite a bit, but I think this is a beautiful word that, and so with this, like there's words in it, like yeah. So just
oh.
yeah, your thoughts on the word gratitude.
Well, I think of like a field of flowers and just like being peace comes in for sure, being thankful. And I'm, like I said, being an overgiver, often it's about other people, but gratitude for yourself, gratitude for how far you've come, grateful to exist. Like if you really think about how miraculous our bodies are and
Mm,
that we're here,
preach. Yeah.
like that is so wild, and how our cells can hear us, like how you talk to yourself. Like I've read different articles, and some people do more research on like the holistic view, but I truly believe like our body hears us. And when you speak like plants, I learned with plants, when you speak to plants kindly, they grow more, they flourish. But if you're hard on them, like
Yeah.
that's so wild. And so I think of flower. I think
I
of
love it.
flower. Oh,
I was gonna say you have them right there.
my best friend crocheted these for me for our wedding, which was in
Oh,
August. So that, yeah. So this is what gratitude for friendship, gratitude for like being here and being able to share today, being able to yeah, live, which is
yeah.
huge. And yeah, it's really incredible. That's
Oh,
cool.
I love it. Yeah, there is so much to be grateful for. Like I think I don't know who originally said it, but I don't know if it's gratitude is an attitude or gratitude, like something in that,
Yeah.
right? Because when I see this, while it's not all the words, like, or it's not spelt properly, but I see attitude in,
Attitude. I thought of attitude too.
right?
Yeah.
Because like you say, and that my mom tests out that plant experiment that you were talking about, and her plants are incredible because she gets up every morning and she says hi to them and she talks to them, and they are flourishing. So I there is absolutely something to that. But I
Oh,
think in like, I am grateful for you, I'm grateful for the ladies that joined the networking event last night. Like I think that there's so much to be said for having gratitude and just being thankful, like you say, for waking up every morning and
yeah.
having a family. And
Yeah.
like you said, you got married in August, which I was going to ask you about earlier, funny enough. So uh,
Yeah, just really quick. I haven't shared pictures yet, but I wore a gold dress and I just felt so me. I've never seen it before. And yeah, it was a really cool journey. I look forward to talking more about that. It's hard when there's so much happening, and I have a brain that I want to go, woo, but I'm trying to like, it's okay. But going back to gratitude, um, the more that you're able to I'm learning, like the more I can replenish, like January, like what I said, that's huge. I've never done that. To say yes to me, right? Like really to me. I feel like I'm gonna be so much more grateful for Speaker Slam, so much more grateful for my clients in February. Like I feel like this is what gratitude is all about. It starts from here. Like it
Yeah.
really does. You think it's out there, but it's to really feel it, for me at least, to really feel gratitude is for it to start in here.
Wow, I love it. Beautiful. And you
Yeah.
mentioned it at the very beginning, so I'll dive in and ask you about your favorite dish, like whether
Mm.
it's something you make or at a restaurant that you. So you're from Ottawa, that I'll also say you're not local to me,
Yeah.
which is even more exciting from a speaker slam perspective. We were sharing before we got online.
Yeah.
Like I would love to come and support you, and I think
Yeah.
um a number of femmes that are in out my area will come because we are in this virtual platform, and that's how I see you on a monthly
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah. Totally.
But to be able to actually see you in person and support you and all of that, so I think it's fantastic.
It's so
Yeah.
cool. And just before I mention the dish, your card game that you said the other one, what was the other card? You said one was word and what was the other one?
Oh, a question. So like it's part of this game called Punctum. So we
Oh,
create series or
yeah.
I'm sorry, processes that are based on words, questions, and pictures. And it's all around again, generating a different perspective
Yeah.
because it triggers the left and right brain.
It's
It's quite
still
a very
there. It's
interesting.
that other one that we did at FM City. I still think of it. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
because I thought it was deep, and then now I'm like, oh my God, I understand why my initial reaction was that, and I wouldn't vocalize it to people like it's private. But I was like, wow, that's interesting. Very great tool for
Yeah.
self-reflection, and I'm looking within. So I would say. There's so many. I'm not a picky eater. When it comes to spicy food, I'm very sensitive. I'm
Mm.
very sensitive, and I say that in all ways. Like I bruise easily. I'm sensitive to foods. I'm sensitive to smells, textures, like all of it.
Hmm.
But I would say probably Vietnamese food, and I love a vermicelli bun, and it's BUN. I think there's like it's spelled differently in Vietnamese. Like I think the
Yeah.
U has I don't know what the word
I don't
is.
actually even know what you're talking about. So now I'm really
No,
fascinated. No, I don't know that I've ever had that.
really. It's so good. And then I add so they have vermicelli spring rolls and then deep fried spring rolls and then you can dip it in fish sauce and it's so freaking good.
Making me
I
hungry.
know it's so good. And you either have chicken, beef, pork, shrimp, and then it's with lettuce and then carrots and then bean sprouts and vermicelli noodles and it's so good. And it's nostalgic for me. That's a dinner item that I would have with my mom a lot. And we still go. It's funny, by the way, when I'm talking, I feel like I naturally move my hand. It's like
Yeah.
the one was meant to be there.
That's
So that's-
amazing. Oh, that's so funny.
How about
Yeah,
you?
I
What's
talk with
your
my
favorite?
hands a lot too. I think it's a thing. Sorry, what did you
Yeah.
ask?
What's your favorite dish? What's yours?
Oh, I have so many. I'm so grateful. My husband is such a good cook, and so it's really hard for me to. We don't go out off like we do go out, and when we
Yeah.
go out, we do the bad stuff
Yeah.
because we don't like. But yeah, my husband. I think honestly, I think I've shared this before on one of these shows, but just to give a framework for how awesome my husband's cooking is he once so he used to work for Chorus Entertainment, so which is
My husband too.
oh, you're kidding. Oh my gosh, maybe they know each other. I'll have to talk about that another time. Anyways, yeah, used to
Good.
work for Chorus, which is the Food Network is with Chorus. So anyways, they did a team event where they did a Chopped. I don't know if you've ever seen it on the Food Network. Have you ever? Yeah. So, anyways, long story short, had Mark McEwen as one of the one of the guests
Oh,
um, judges. Told my husband it was one of the best steaks he's ever had. Like
lucky you.
steak.
That's amazing. Wow.
So to answer your question, I think we have steak tacos with potato mashed potatoes,
Oh my
and then
God.
he makes a chimichurri, and it is like my mouth is literally salivating thinking about it.
Oh,
So
yeah, okay, I love that. Maybe he'll make it this weekend. I love
yeah.
that. But you reminded me, and when you said that he cooks, I love that for you, by the way. That's incredible. My favorite dish that we're having tomorrow is fettuccine Alfredo with, is it carbonara? No, fettuccine Alfredo with shrimp and bacon.
So
Creamy.
pre getting married 21 years ago, that
Yes.
was my favorite dish. I'll be honest with you. Anywhere I would
Really?
go, I would have that. And it's funny, it's one of the things we don't make anymore. I don't think I've had that in years.
Really?
Yeah, but I was one of my favorite
That's so
dishes
cool.
years ago.
Wow. Look how much we have in common that we're
I know.
learning today.
Yeah. I think that you're like what I wanted to be at your age, I think. There's a lot of commonalities in
Mm.
your thought process that you are openly sharing that happen in my mind more, and I don't necessarily get it out of my mouth. So I feel like it's
I love that you can feel seen, like, and that you can
yeah.
feel like you relate. I find that that's connection. That's my core value.
Yeah, you are just such a humble and beautiful person. And
Mm.
so, with that, I will invite you to share where the best place that people can find you and find your wonderful, flourishing community.
Oh my gosh. I would say right now, Instagram. It's funny, we talked about it earlier. Instagram is where I'm most active. I also, I believe I gave you a link for to join my mailing list community, which is called Fairy Dust in Your Inbox.
Ah, I
I,
like that.
I'm very naturally creative, and everything that I come up with usually comes from here. And very innovation is one of my big core values as well. But I have a website in the works that I'm co-creating. It's incredible. When you put yourself in something that's out of your comfort zone, you can really see certain gifts you have that you didn't realize.
Wow.
And I'm co-creating with them. I gave them my ideas and everything, and they're helping me bring it to life. And it's going to be so different. And I'm so excited. So stay connected with me through Instagram to be informed when it's launched or join my mailing list community.
Amazing. I will share that when I share this. And thank you so very much for joining me today. I feel like I have been given so much knowledge in such a short amount of time, and your willingness to share is just so beautiful and authentic, and I just thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. And I've been told before, like, don't share the how, like, let them pay for it. No, because here I'm generous and myself, right? I'm giving from the heart. If people want more, they'll come to you. Like, I'm not gonna hide these things, but it's those boundaries where learn how much are you willing to give, and then how much are you willing to be a part of your services. So
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing your behind the scenes content if you do create it, Heather.
Yeah, I gotta think about that. So it's interesting. I had done and it was new for me because I've seen it on my phone, the time lapse, but I did a
Yeah.
time lapse for somebody else's event a while ago. So it's not necessarily well, it was behind the scenes, but not in the same way. And I did feel very validated after I did it, which was interesting. I was like, oh, this is pretty neat and different. And yeah, yeah.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
thank you
I
for
look
that
forward
food
to
for thought.
seeing it, and thank you for having me on here and talking about our dish.
Thank you so much. So if you're watching today and you're interested in being a guest, please reach out to me at heather@dishevents.ca and I can give you information. I'm booking into February of 2025 right now. I would love to have you as a guest, and so you can share your dish and join me next Friday. I forget who's with me next Friday, but I have no doubt it's going to be another awesome person, just like Chantal was today. Thank you again so much, Chantal.
You're
And
welcome. And guys, if you're thinking, I don't know, maybe do it. Like, it was fun. Step
yeah.
out of your comfort zone if it feels right for you. Thank you, Heather, again, and have a wonderful day, everyone.